We have more COD 2027, Black Ops 7 leaks, whatever it ends up being called, so let's run down all of the information we have about zombies as well as the campaign. And we also have information for multiplayer. So Insider Gaming posted this article saying more Black Ops 7 details have been leaked by a playtester, and I will leave a link to it down in this video's description. Essentially, this is coming from a Reddit user called Big B, who allegedly recently went to a Call of Duty study group to playtest Black Ops 7, and most of this aligns with the prior information that Insider Gaming relayed from their sources, but there are some slight differences. So it pretty much says what we knew about it being a Black Ops 2 sequel and that the original Zombies crew will make a return. They said the campaign story will focus on 2035 and will be a follow-up to the Black Ops story and will involve Woods and Mason. So previously we didn't know exactly what the campaign story would be about. We had heard it would apparently be a new villain, and the date is exactly the same as what we previously heard, but we only knew about David Mason being involved in the campaign. The verbiage here doesn't specify Alex Mason or David, but obviously Alex is no longer alive by this time in the canon, but I guess they can have flashback missions with him, and I guess they're going to have Wheelchair Woods again. I don't know how bro is alive for so long. He's got Ravenov's genes. But this is the most interesting thing from this leak. Apparently it's going to be a 4-player cooperative mode, and of course we last saw a cooperative campaign in Black Ops 3. Treyarch have been wanting to do it for a while, and it seems like it's going to be an open world campaign and will mostly be on Avalon, which is apparently going to be a future Warzone map. It might have been cancelled though. I'm kind of worried about this. Of course, we had open combat missions in Modern Warfare 3's campaign, and it was just god awful. It was just like a bigger version of Spec Ops, and it was extremely boring. So hopefully this is a true open world campaign and isn't just lackluster like that was. This does mean though, if Avalon does get cancelled for Warzone, then at least it still gets use in the campaign, but I'm hoping this is a proper, true open world experience, and it'll definitely be fun jumping in with friends to play it out. Let me know what you think of that down in the comment section down below. I know most of you seem to just prefer the traditional campaigns, especially after Modern Warfare 3 left a sour taste in your mouth, but I think an open world campaign could be good and innovative. It's just that they haven't managed to do it right just yet. Now, Omni movement will return and include wall running, again something we already knew. Apparently you can also like bounce off of walls and stuff. The zombies mode will, like I said earlier, apparently feature the original Zombies crew as multiversal variations. So Takeo, Dempsey, Nikolai, and Richtofen. We don't know who's going to be voicing Takeo though. As you know, the multiverse got plunged into the dark ether. We don't know how the original characters are returning yet, but it probably has something to do with Josiah Shem shattering space-time, or maybe they can exist within liminal spaces. It seems like the game's going to be entirely in the dark ether with different versions of them from potentially different liminal spaces in there, and apparently these versions are going to be older than Primis but younger than Ultimus. Now this next piece of information is new as well. They said that the Zombies mode will apparently have a TranZit Remake. Now the prior leaks have just said there's going to be a transit style transport system on a large map that's going to be coming at launch, but they never said it will be a TranZit Remake directly. So of course take all of this information with a grain of salt, because this is a bit of a contradictory information. So maybe we're going to have a map that has some sort of bus system or some sort of other transport system that takes you from the point of interest, or maybe it's literally going to be a TranZit Remake, and if so, I'm not really sure how that'll be. So apparently all of the Zombies mode will be round based. Again, we've heard prior leaks about this, but there might be some sort of open world style round based system as well, maybe some sort of larger mode maybe on this TranZit Remake, or whatever the TranZit inspired map ends up being, whether it's a remake or just an inspired map, we still don't know just yet. The Zombies mode will apparently have a difficulty toggle. I think this is a cool system. Of course, we had it in Black Ops 2 as well as Black Ops 4. However, it wasn't really utilized well in Black Ops 4. I liked it back in the day, having a difficulty system, but as time has progressed, it does feel like sometimes they just need to have one default setting so that it can balance everything right. But maybe this will be in response to a lot of the criticism that Black Ops 6 is too easy, or the latest games are too easy. Then maybe there's going to be a hardcore version as well. Honestly, I would rather just have a regular version and a hardcore version. I don't want them to overcomplicate it with having, say, 4 different modes like they had in Black Ops 4. We don't want to have easy, regular, difficult, hardcore. It just becomes a bit too much, and people end up just playing one of these. It sort of over pollutes the population. I guess this difficulty feature could be referring to the classic mode that's been leaked for Black Ops 6 for a very long time, but it could just be saved for Black Ops 7 because it's on the COD HQ. Everything can transfer over, so maybe it'll be a more classic health system with no armor. But if they are doing a classic system, I want it to be a fully fledged classic system and not be underbaked with just a few reversions, because then it's just going to be unbalanced. It's a lot of work to get the balancing right for 2 completely different versions of zombies, so this isn't just a simple flicking of switches on and off. But considering it's been in the files literally since before before Black Ops 6 even released. They've had ample time to hopefully get this right if it does release with Black Ops 7. And then it says a wonder vehicle will be in the mode and a more story-focused role as well. So I don't know what this wonder vehicle is. Is this referring to the transport system that's going to be on this transit-like map, or is this something entirely separate? I don't even know what that would be, but it sounds like it's going to be a magical vehicle or something like that. But I'm happy that they're saying it's going to have more story focus, especially with the original characters back. It's so important because lately they've just not gotten the storyline right with Black Ops 6. I'm really underwhelmed with the storyline for this game. I thought it was leading to something a lot more epic than it actually ended up being from the end of Cold War. And unfortunately, I think a lot of that narrative is being saved as setup for Black Ops 7, which is a shame because it felt like Cold War was being set up for Black Ops 6, and Black Ops 6 feels like it's set up for Black Ops 7. So Black Ops 7 really needs to hit the nail on its head, because with the original characters back, it's not going to be the same as messing up the story for the Requiem crew. You know, people don't really care about this crew, but people have over 10 years of legacy with the original characters. If they come back and are resurrected from the dead in a contrived way that doesn't make sense, and then it actually ruins these characters as opposed to adding to them, then it's actually going to retroactively ruin the Ether storyline. So they really need to get this right. They really, really do. The multiplayer is being described as featuring a 32 versus 32 player mode, which sounds absolutely epic. And apparently it's going to feature some remakes of popular maps in a 2035 futuristic Japanese style theme. So obviously it was obvious we would be getting some remakes and remasters like we do every year. I'm sure there's going to be many Black Ops 2 multiplayer maps, but why the Japanese style theme? Is that sort of giving us an idea of what the campaign's going to be based around? Obviously we know that Avalon's in Europe, so that's got nothing to do with Japan. So I don't know why many of the campaign's going to be around Japan, what exactly is happening there storyline wise, but I'm excited for that aesthetic. It's really cool. Of course, one of the Zombies maps that leaked apparently is going to be in a Shogun temple in Japan beneath an erupting volcano. So we know Zombies is going to have some Japanese theme. I'm guessing that's going to be the Takio style map, but we've not heard anything about the campaign just yet. They then say plan for everything to have a progression level system, including grenades, kill streaks, and perks. So everything's going to have a leveling system. I'm not a fan of that either, to be honest. Overcomplicates things. Then it says plans for multiplayer progression to carry over from Black Ops 6. I'm kind of happy about that, but they're completely different eras, so I'm not sure how much should cross over. It's going to feel weird for sure. Now there's been a really weird addendum to the end of this leak and a bit of a footnote, and as Tom Henderson points out, it's a bit of a curveball because they say according to the user he got a glimpse of some kind of view of another prototype game where he said, I saw that another prototype is planned with Alex Mercer returning as the protagonist, because that is another Activision IP, so that's something completely unrelated to Call of Duty. Apparently the gameplay will involve shapeshifting, transforming into other areas, and the game will be set in New York. So what are your thoughts on all of these Black Ops 7 leaks? Now, if you aren't aware, a few weeks ago there was a ton more leaks where we had literally like 7 maps leaked for Zombies, as it's apparently going to be getting 4 DLC maps, 2 on launch, so 6 total, similar to Black Ops 6. A lot of people missed that news, so I'm just going to play that whole video that I made before for you now, so you can get caught up on all of that information. Again, if you missed it, enjoy.
Such things are gone forever, unless they live on within our hearts, our minds, our memories.
We have gotten huge leaks on the maps for Black Ops 7 Zombies COD 2025, all apparent 6 of them. So Insider Gaming have posted a new article saying exclusive Call of Duty 2025 plan to have 6 fully fledged round-based maps. Throughout the game's life cycle, they say that they have learned that the game will be led by Treyarch. Details of what Call of Duty 2025 is shaping up to be is already an open secret, as it's meant to be a Black Ops 2 sequel in 2035, and that the original Zombies characters are going to be returning as a crew. In the map's early development, it's understood that the plan for Zombies was to build the maps from the ground up to allow them to be played in different game modes, including traditional round-based, Grief, and Outbreak. And that has me so excited because a big thing that I've been talking about in videos is saying, well, some sources are saying that the game's going to be just round-based, some sources are saying it's going to contain Outbreak, so which one is it? Is it just going to be some sort of hybrid mode? Well, it seems like Outbreak and round-based will both be returning, and you can potentially play either variation of it on at least some of the maps. And I'm so looking forward to some sort of versus game mode, a player versus player game mode in Zombies again, like the original Grief. It's been found in the files for Black Ops 6, but maybe we'll see it in Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7. It could come in a later season, for example. Now that all games are on the unified COD HQ, it's easy to have the mode in both games. And we've been waiting for Grief for so long. It's supposed to have released in so many Zombies games, and it just never makes the light of day. But obviously, like with all leaks and rumors, we need to take this with a grain of salt. We're still quite a while from release. release, so many of this can get scrapped or cancelled, or these can be concepts that haven't gone fully into development. But he says it's understood that Treyarch was playing around with more out there settings this time around, including a map set in post-World War II New York where the Nazis had dropped a nuclear bomb, with another map being described as being set in a Japanese temple on the foot of an erupting volcano. And holy god, those maps sound so incredible, so much better than what we've been getting in recent years, so much more akin to the classic maps that we used to get. Say Black Ops 3 had amazing map locations, and it's something that it's very much needed to make the maps feel distinct and unique. And with the original characters returning, it makes it sound like these map concepts are once these maps are specific to characters because they align with nationalities, similar to how we saw the maps in Black Ops 3's DLC all align with each character. For example, Stalingrad for Nikolai because he was Russian, or Zetsubo-no-Shima on a Japanese island because of Takeo. So if we're going to be getting an alternative history New York, this could be Richthofen's map. This Japanese temple at the foot of an erupting volcano could be Takeo's map. Speaking of which, I have no idea who's going to voice Takeo now because of course his voice actor Kane suffered a stroke and has retired, but hopefully now they get an actual Japanese actor to portray his role so it's more authentic, and they sort of scale down some of the racist undertones of his character. But the way that Tom Henderson words this article makes it sound like these maps are not 100% going to release, because he describes them as concepts, meaning that these are still ideas that might not necessarily go into production and solidify, although I really hope they do, especially the alternative history Nazi New York. It gives me very much vibes of Mauer der Toten, which is a lot of people's favorite map from Black Ops Cold War, and I think it being alt history could be a lot better. And I think this ties into the theories that I've been having in my videos about how the multiverse got thrown into the Dark Ether on Tag der Toten, so we can now explore alternative histories inside of the Dark Ether because all of the universes got thrown in there, so there's going to be different worlds to explore. It could be similar to Wolfenstein, where the Nazis won the war instead, and we see how much it has affected the world and they've taken over America. We could see some sort of crazy version of Richthofen, a super evil version, if Janus Richthofen is left behind come this game, considering they are going to be new versions of the original characters we haven't seen before, older than Primis but not as old as Ultimus. They are different echoes from different fractures and alternative timelines that are inside of the Dark Ether. Because this was kind of the concept of Mauer der Toten anyways, it wasn't really properly utilized, but Valentina was trying to restore the Reich. Many of the Nazis got sent in there into the Dark Ether in World War II, and she was trying to resurrect that undead army. Unfortunately, she was just being tricked by the Forsaken into doing his bidding and him trying to escape on Mauer der Toten. But it would be so awesome to see a Newt New York that's taken over by the Nazis inside of the Dark Ether, and this has me excited because we seem to be getting fully Dark Ether maps for Black Ops 7 Zombies, which is something we've been asking for so long. Whether it's this map or any of the others, at least some of them seem to be set in the Dark Ether. These maps just sound phenomenal though. I really hope they all make it into the game. Treyarch seems to have been listening to feedback here. This is why people love Black Ops 3 Zombies so much, because the map variety was so awesome and the map locations have just not been it lately. Even with Black Ops 6 Zombies, they're not feeling unique enough. And I think exploring alternative history again is the best way to go about it, and is again why Black Ops 3 Zombies was so successful. Every fracture was a completely different reality. And the Japanese temple in the volcano sounds so cool as well. Maybe the Easter egg could even end with it erupting. Now the other concepts that have been floated around are other ideas included a map set in Vietnam, which I don't really think we should go to Vietnam again. We just had Firebase C, although I think they could do a much better Vietnam map that's more akin to Shangri-La. He says one map has been floated around in Afghanistan, and another more out there idea, one being set in a space station in the Dark Ether. And this is something that I really want to see, and honestly, these sound like ideas that I have had for Black Ops Cold War. During Black Ops Cold War, it was kind of implied that we might be getting a New York map because that was one of Valentina's targets for Operation Inversion. So I was saying, you know, maybe we could get an alternative history New York where the Nazis escape from the Dark Ether as she resurrects the ones that were sent in there, but we never ended up receiving that map, even though we thought we were potentially going to head there. And another map I was speculating about for Black Ops Cold War was some sort of space map inside of the Dark Ether, because it was heavily hinted in even the game's intel and even the calling cards, because inside of the Dark Ether, all of the inhabitants breathe Ethereum, so you don't need to breathe oxygen. So you can essentially go anywhere in the Dark Ether and have a map set in there in other planets, other worlds, which I guess is kind of similar to what we saw in Vanguard Zombies with its Dark Ether. It very much felt like an alien world, but the Dark Ether is practically infinite, with many universes, many pockets, and bubbles in the ocean. There's no reason we cannot go to other planets, and we could just be wearing the Ethernaut mask to protect us from the Ethereum corruption. But if we're playing as the original character's souls, their essence, maybe not them themselves, but their memories, defending against the Shadow Smiths, then they wouldn't need to be wearing Ethernauts anyways, because they are a part of the Dark Ether itself and are not even really alive, they're just echoes. Insider Gaming then says there's already leaks from a feedback session. It's also understood that Call of Duty 2025 Zombies will have one of its biggest maps to date and have a similar transportation system to TranZit. Now, I'd have to imagine this is going to be the launch map, because this is the one that's been leaked the most and talked about the most, so probably is the most in development. I don't know what this map is going to be, of course, but we've had leaks about Avalon Outbreak, so maybe we could be getting that, maybe some sort of DMZ style Outbreak. We've also been speculating about some sort of Liberty Falls Outbreak type map with all of the locations, the town itself, mansion, Janus Towers, and potentially some new points of interest. That could be it, or maybe it could be an entirely new open world location. Regardless, it sounds like a giant map that's going to have some sort of transportation system, but according to Tom Henderson, it's going to be able to be played on round-based, potentially even Outbreak as well, or maybe some sort of hybrid mode where it's round-based, but there are set linear objectives or optional objectives that you have to complete around the map as well, because there's no reason we can't get an open world round-based experience, in my opinion. And I think this is the perfect way to go. So right now there's 6 maps that have leaked, so I don't know if we're going to get 2 on launch, 4 DLCs, 1 on launch, 5 DLCs. We're going to have to wait and see. Obviously, plans are still in development. We're still a while away from release, and during its post-launch cycle, more maps could be concepted or go into development, or maps could get cancelled. It can really go either way. It's too early to tell right now. However, there has been another leak recently that Black Ops 6 Zombies' development will be pretty much wrapped up by about June, so all of the content will be made, whether it's released by then or they've just got the content ready for the future seasons. They'll basically stop development on the game and focus entirely on Black Ops 7. So that's probably why the Black Ops 6 Zombies maps have been releasing so fast and so quickly, because they're trying to get ahead of schedule so that they can then focus on Black Ops 7, because I imagine it's very stressful times for Treyarch right now trying to balance 2 Zombies games at once, which they've never done before. I mean, they have with Modern Warfare Zombies and Black Ops 6, but it was a bit different because it wasn't as fully fledged of a Zombies experience as we've been getting here, and they stepped off development for that very early on and passed the torch to Sledgehammer and High Moon. Insider Gaming says it's currently unclear on if Treyarch went with every idea, but we'd expect at least a few to make it into the final game. So that's what I said earlier. We need to take this with a grain of salt. These are just concepts right now, and they might be very outdated as well. This leak, we don't know who provided the source. It could be from months and months and months ago, maybe even a year ago for all we know. So I'd imagine, like he says, at least a few of these will probably make it into the game, but not all of them. I imagine some will either be scrapped or changed out for other ideas. Stuff gets cancelled literally all of the time. I've been covering lots of cut Call of Duty content recently for Black Ops 3, and you know from those leaks how much stuff doesn't make it into the final release of the game, even if it's being talked about. But what do you think about these ideas? I love all of them. I want all of them to release, but we can't get all nice things in the world. But yeah, this is absolutely wild. I'll be, of course, having many more videos to come. Mansion is coming soon as well, and I also have a big sequel to the Impossible Easter egg video on the horizon. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not here for latest and greatest Call of Duty news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.